Attention passionate Dallas Cowboys fans. Latest news. Something big is happening in the NFC East, and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Dallas Cowboys' path to another championship run. A power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before we dive in, if you're a true Dallas Cowboys fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more.
Show that you're also part of this family.
Let's help each other reach 8,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and fellow Dallas Cowboys fans. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, it has been impossible to ignore what has been happening with the Dallas Cowboys lately. There's a tangible sense of frustration that has been simmering beneath the surface, and it has centered around one thing: defense. You all love the star on their helmets, but right now, the defense is the main source of concern. And not just because of a few bad plays or a string of missed tackles. No, this goes much deeper. It is about a unit that seems to be lost, lacking identity, and struggling to find its footing against some of the most basic offensive schemes the league has to offer. And if you read a Cowboys fan, you know exactly what I mean when I say this is not the team we're used to seeing. It feels like their SA disconnect. A breakdown of what was once a stout, intimidating unit. Let's start with the recent episode involving Rico Dowdle. Now you might wonder why ID focus on a guy who isn't he a star. But the truth is, what Dowdle said and did last week really encapsulates the current state of this team's defense. Rico called out the Cowboys, and he hold back. He told everyone exactly where he was coming from. And I am not talking about on the field. He basically sent an email with that is right. He called out the Cowboys like a burglar emailing his itinerary before a heist. And what happened? Well, the defense couldn't stop a guy telegraphing his intent. It is like watching a burglar walk right through the front door, announcing his plans, and the house just standing there clueless, not even trying to stop him. But what is more alarming is how the Cowboys seemingly didn't react with any real frustration or urgency. By halftime, Rico Dowdle had already left his mark all over the defense. He was making plays, stretching the limits of what the Cowboys could do to contain him. And then in a moment that felt almost surreal, Dowdle and Trevon Diggs looked like they were heading out for beers after the game. That old school reference might seem outdated, but it really highlights how casual and disconnected things appeared. Darren Woodson, one of the Cowboys' greatest safeties, has always emphasized that in-game fraternization signals a breakdown of discipline. So, when you see two key players seemingly having fun while the defense is clearly struggling, it raises questions about the leadership and focus of this team. And this is where the core issue lies. The return of Matt Eberflus as defensive coordinator has not brought back the magic. Not by any stretch. His all-zone all-the-time scheme seems to be a poor fit for the personnel, and it is evident in how the defense is playing. When Dan Quinn was the DC, the Cowboys played mostly man coverage, and even if they couldn't stop the run, they still managed to lead the league in turnovers twice. That is a stark contrast to what we're seeing now. Trevon Diggs, who benefited so much from Quinn's aggressive man coverage, has been the most vocal critic of Eberflus. He told the Dallas Morning News that it is very frustrating. Why? Because receivers are running wide open, coverage busts are happening left and right, and the team looks disorganized. Diggs feels like they're all over the place, lacking a clear identity. Now, can you imagine Jimmy Johnson-esque quarterbacks or Bill Parcells' defenses making such public comments? It has almost unthinkable. That is the kind of culture and accountability that seemed to be present in the old days. But now, UV got players openly airing grievances. And when you look at the stats, it is even more concerning. Diggs and Darren Bland, who are supposed to be among the top paid players on the defense, with a combined $36 million this year, have 0 interceptions or pass breakups so far. 0. That is practically unheard of for guys in their position. It suggests that maybe blaming the scheme is just an easy scapegoat. But the deeper truth is, talent and execution are lacking. Let us talk about the linebackers, because here where the issues really come into focus. Kenneth Murray, who is now on his third team in 6 years, has been a disappointment in coverage. He was supposed to be the answer, but according to Pro Football Focus, he has actually better in coverage this year than against the run, which is troubling in itself. The Cowboys desperately need help at linebacker and DeMarvion. Overshown arrival was supposed to be a game-changer, but he couldn't. He get here fast enough to bolster what is arguably the League's worst unit. And it's not just the linebackers. Remember when Jerry Jones said that their inability to stop the run was a big reason for trading for Kenny Clark? Well, 6 games into the season, teams are still running all over the Cowboys, as if they reaction error bank easy pickings. Kenny Clark, who was supposed to shore up the middle, is ranked 82nd among defensive tackles by PFF. That's not good enough. Meanwhile, the guy the Packers got in exchange for Clark and a couple of first-round picks is considered the league's best edge rusher. The contrast is stark. Micah Parsons, who has been the shining star of the defense, has had to cover up a multitude of sins, covering, tackling, and making plays that shouldn't he be so hard to make on a team with high draft picks and big contracts. But the truth is, the Cowboys' Dante seem to have enough talent on that side of the ball. If they did, even lining up 10 guys, someone would stumble into a good play now and then. And if we were going to point fingers at Eberflus, then we have to look at Jerry Jones too. Because when Dan Quinn left to coach the Commanders, the Cowboys could have simply kept the same scheme and maintained some stability. Instead, Jerry decided to bring back former head coaches as coordinators, Mike Zimmer, and then Eberflus. It has a curious pattern, and one that docents seem to be paying off. Joe Witt Jr., who was promoted to defensive coordinator in Washington, has a defense that's league average at best. They've given up fewer touchdowns and yards than the Cowboys, but that's not exactly a glowing endorsement. You have to wonder what the Cowboys' record would look like with Dak Prescott's offense paired with a league-average defense. Frankly, it is enough to make your blood boil, because the talent is there. The potential is evident, but the execution simply isn't there yet as a team that looks well-adjusted on the surface. But beneath that veneer, there's a disconnect. The irony of it all is that when officials penalized a player for unsportsmanlike conduct, it was Rico Dowdle. Yes, Rico Dowdle, who drew the flag for a hit on Shemar James. Maybe it as old school, but it seems the Cowboys could use a little of that old school juice, that adrenaline to spark them. Sometimes adrenaline makes up for a lack of talent, or even a bad scheme. Who would have thought a year ago that Rico Dowdle would come to symbolize everything that's wrong with the Cowboys? Not just on the field, but in the post-game comments where he said, "They wasn't the buckled up." That statement to me sounds like an epitaph for the current state of this team's defense. It is a stark reminder that sometimes the culture and attitude matter just as much as excess and OS. Now all of this raises a bigger question. What is the future for this defense? Because it is clear that the talent isn't enough, and the scheme seems to be a poor fit for the personnel. The Cowboys have some talented players. No doubt Micah Parsons is a game wrecker, a true difference maker. But even Parsons, great as he is, can do everything by himself. The secondary, for example, is lacking playmakers, and the linebackers are struggling to cover and tackle. Teams are exploiting these weaknesses every week. It is almost as if there's a blueprint out there. Attack the Cowboys' defense, and all find success. The coaching staff, for all their experience, seems to be caught in a cycle of trying to fix something that might be fundamentally broken. Bringing back former head coaches as coordinators has not yielded the results they hoped for. The defense in Washington under Joe Witt Jr. is league average, but even that is better than what the Cowboys are showing right now. Imagine what the team could do with a league average defense paired with Dak Prescott's offense. It is mind-boggling to think how much better they could be. But instead, they restuck in a cycle of blame, scheme issues, and missed opportunities. And that brings us to the big picture. The NFC East is shaping up to be a competitive division this year, and the Cowboys' struggles on defense could be their undoing if they find a solution soon. The division rivalries are fierce, and every game counts. If the defense can step up, it has going to be a long season. No matter how good the offense is, and let us be honest, the offense has been pretty good at times, but it is not enough to compensate for a defense that can stop a nosebleed. So, Dallas fans, what is the outlook? Well, it is a mixed bag. The talent is there, but the execution and scheme are not. The coaching decisions and personnel moves have left many scratching their heads, wondering if there is a clear plan to turn things around. And with each passing week, the frustration builds. The Cowboys are a team that is built for greatness, but right now, they reach us not reaching their potential. It has frustrating to watch, especially for those of us who bleed blue and silver. Now, I want to shift gears a little and talk about the bigger implications, because this isn't just about one bad game or a few bad plays. It asks about a culture that needs to be realigned, about accountability, discipline, and a clear identity on defense. The Cowboys have historically been a team that could flip the script quickly, especially on defense. But this season, it feels like they restuck in neutral. They need a wake-up call, and they need it soon. One thing is certain, the NFC East is wide open this year. The Eagles are formidable, the Giants are unpredictable, and the Commanders are showing signs of life. For the Cowboys, every game is a must-win, and every mistake is magnified. The defense's struggles are not just a blip, they retrend that could define the season if they don't correct course. And correction has to come from all levels, coaching staff, players, front office. It has a team effort, and right now it feels like they're running in circles, trying to find answers. But amidst all this chaos, there is still hope. Hope that the coaching staff can make adjustments, that the players can buy into a new identity, and that the defense can start to resemble the unit that once struck fear into opponents, because the talent is there. Micah Parsons, Darren Bland, and others are capable of playing at a high level. The question is, will the coaching staff finally find a scheme that maximizes their strengths rather than highlighting their weaknesses? And as fans, we have to stay patient, but also demand accountability. The Cowboys have a storied history, a legacy of winning, and a culture that is built on resilience and character. It is easy to get discouraged when things guarantee going your way, but I believe in the heart of this team. I believe they can turn it around, but it is going to take more than just talent. It is going to require a collective effort, discipline, and perhaps a little old-school grit, something Rico Dowdle seems to have in spades. So as we look ahead, the focus has to be on fixing what has broken. The defense needs to find its identity, and that is not just about schemes or personnel, it is about mindset. The Cowboys are capable of greatness. We've seen flashes of it, but until they tighten up, play with more discipline, and hold themselves accountable, those flashes will remain just that, flashes. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What is your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Dallas Cowboys. Do you believe they can turn this around? What changes do you think are necessary? We'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. Keep the faith, stay loud, and let us hope that the next game brings a new chapter 1 of resilience, discipline, and ultimately victory.